Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is my first ever live broadcast show, and it's my 25th interview. And today I will be interviewing somebody not from the horror or sci-fi community, but from the world of the Muppets, and that is Juliana Donald. You may remember her. She played Jenny in the Muppets Take Manhattan, and that's who I'll be interviewing today. But first, let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Whole world is celebrating. Whole world is celebrating night. Yes, the whole world is celebrating. And I am your host, Tommy Throwback Kovac. And like I just said, I will be interviewing Juliana Donald, who played Jenny in the Muppets Take Manhattan. I will also be asking her, I should say, about her other roles. She was also in The Purple Rose of Cairo, Star Trek Next Generation, a couple others. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to get her on the line right now, our first ever live show. So excited. Hello? Hey, Juliana. Hey, we're on the air.
Oh, great. Great.
Oh, so how was your trip to India?
It was eventful. It was eventful. I mean, India's a pretty crazy place. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's like you landed on the moon when you go there. So it's hard to describe other than you landed on the moon. You know, there's just cows and monkeys and everything walking the streets in between cars and camels, and it's just like nothing you would ever see in America. But it makes you appreciate and there's no such thing as right side of the street or wrong side of the street to go forward or back. It's just every man for himself. So it's crazy. But anyway, so I'm very happy to be back in America.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've never been to India before. Not somewhere I desire to go, but you know, who knows? Maybe someday.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be ready for it. And there's places I've never been to the south, but I hear like Goa's beautiful, and there's lots of beautiful places. But where I was, it's not really beautiful. It's the north, and in the north, no one speaks English, and that's another challenge. But anyway. And that's not what we're supposed to be talking about.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. So the first movie you did was The Muppets Take Manhattan, which this has been one of my favorites since I was about 4 years old. I had a tape with all the first three Muppet movies on VHS when I was a kid, and I still have it. I actually watched it last night. I still have it 30 years later. I still have it. And
that's great. Yeah, it was a great experience, and I've heard that from a lot of people, including like salespeople when I've given them my credit card that say, "Did you do this movie?" And oh my God, I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. So it's great to hear that.
Yeah, Jenny was the kind of friend I always wanted because I was picked on and bullied a lot in school, and I've been lucky enough to have a couple of friends like her. But she is so accepting of different people, in this case, Muppets, and she's so sweet and caring, you know, and you make it believable.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. It was easy to do with those puppeteers. Because they were, I mean, I don't know. I think it was Jim's last movie Jim Henson's last film that he did before he passed away, the last Muppet movie he did before he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And he was truly one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and loved what he was doing, and had a crazy busy schedule. And when we were doing the scene in the park where we were jogging, his assistants were like, come on, you have all these meetings, and these little kids started gathering around when they saw Kermit, and he just sat there for 45 minutes talking to the little kids as Kermit.
Oh.
Telling everybody, like all his assistants and everybody, the meetings he had with all these people could wait because of the kids, which was like really kind of a magical moment and really special, and made you realize how he was so important to, and doing the right thing, and just a really special guy.
Oh yeah, that is cute. I like that. That's really a good story there.
Yeah, there were many like that. I mean, he did. I think he was preparing something else, or he was working on something else at the time. But he was not on the set that often. But he would always come whenever Kermit had to have a scene, an acting scene, and unlike many actors that are famous, that they'll get a stand-in to do the part, he would always do the part. And I don't know if you know how the Muppets do the Muppets, but they have their arm straight up, and they have these, they're in their right arm, if they're right-handed, and they use their left hand to manipulate the arms of the puppet. And then they have around their head, they have a headband with a microphone, and then around their waist they have a little TV monitor. So they're watching everything that they're doing with all this equipment, and it certainly can't be comfortable to be having your arm up that long for those extended periods of time. But I never ever heard any of them complain or want somebody else to do their part, or wanted somebody else to read their part. They were just, amazing.
Wow. How did you get this role?
I was doing theater in New York off Broadway, and they were having like a hard time. Apparently I got kind of lucky. Apparently they had met with every kind of famous celebrity, young celebrity, and auditioned them, and they didn't think that people could communicate with the puppets the way they wanted to communicate with the puppets. And I was literally brought in at the last minute, and I came and auditioned, and they asked me to come back and work with Jim and meet Jim, and I came and met Jim, and I worked with him for about an hour, and I was done at 7, and I had, in the theater, you have something called half hour, where you have to be at the theater by 7:30 at the latest for the 8 o'clock show, and so I had to just, tear out of there to get to Times Square area to do my show, and I think they were going to try to have me come back and do another scene, but I was, already halfway to my theater, and they just made a decision and gave me the job. So it was kind of like, a kismet thing. And I don't know if it had anything to, if I would have not gotten it, if I had to come back and do another scene, or if that was good or not. But that's kind of what happened. So it was really kind of last minute crazy one day, and then that night when I finished the show, I found out from my agent that I was cast. And then I started less than a week later.
Oh, that's cool. Wow, you don't see that often these days.
Yeah, it was really, it was really fast, but I think that it was also they didn't have time, and they're really, seemed to me to be, a lot of the puppeteers told me that they would, hitchhike across the country and get to, and they just meet Jim, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I like you. Okay, you're hired." So a lot of it is just chemistry. If you have chemistry with them, then that goes a long way. So obviously, I had chemistry. So
of course,
with Jim. So they were mostly concerned about how I would be with Kermit. So I had to do. That's why they wanted me to meet Jim and work with him.
Wow. Yeah, last night when I was watching it, I noticed something I never noticed before. There's a couple of moments in the movie where you look like you can't keep a straight face because it must have been awkward talking to puppets.
Oh, that's funny. I don't remember, because it's been so many years, what moments, but probably that might have been the case. So, also we were, the way that they shoot the Muppets is they build a set 4 feet above ground, so you have to be very careful where you step because you can fall down a hole and, kill yourself.
Yeah.
So, maybe it was one of those things where I almost slipped. I don't know, but yeah, I don't remember what scenes that happened, but they were laughing a lot, so that doesn't surprise me that might have shown up.
I imagine it was a happy set, was it?
Oh yeah, it was really, really happy. Usually they take 6 months to shoot. Usually they take 6 months to shoot the Muppet films, but this one they shot in only 3, which for them was considered a crazy schedule. I didn't know better, so for me it just seemed fine, but for them it was a real rush to get this done. And it was also Frank Oz. He is Miss Piggy. It was his first film that he ever directed. So he was getting a lot of help from, Jim would come on the set and try to give him some help too, because he had never directed before. So, but it was kind of chaotic. And the other kind of interesting tidbit is the Martin Scorsese's parents were extras on the entire film.
That's awesome.
And they were really nice, and they apparently Martin Scorsese likes to be extras in his movies, and they came to do the Muppet movie, and they loved it so much. They said, "Can we come here every day and be extras?" And they were like, "Sure, we'll throw you in a scene." So they were there pretty much every day, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. Martin Scorsese's parents of all people.
Right, on a Muppet movie. It doesn't really go, but they were there, and they were very nice. And exactly what you think Martin Scorsese's parents would look like. That's what they look like.
Oh, yeah, I've seen his mother in Goodfellas.
Right, yeah.
He looks just like his mother.
Yeah, just looks. And they were just, oh, Marty this and Marty that, and he wants us to do parts, and we're not interested in any acting, but, they love being extras. So, they were extras.
That's so awesome. Did you get to meet any of the celebrities who did cameos?
Yes, I met Brooke Shields. She was really lovely. I didn't meet Joan Rivers. I met Mia Farrow. I then worked with Mia Farrow on the Purple Rose of Cairo.
Yep.
She was great. I don't know if she was but she came around the set quite a bit. I don't even know if she was a cameo in it. But
No.
I met her. Yeah. So she was just on the set all the time with her kids. So that's why I guess I think she was a cameo. I met a lot of them, but a lot of them were not working when I was working. So I met Dabney Coleman, and trying to think of who the other celebrities were. Some of the comedians that were in it, but yeah, I met some, not not a lot. I met Brooke Shields because she was in a scene in the cafe.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I read that Dustin Hoffman was supposed to play a producer based on his producer friend Robert Evans, but then he dropped out at the last minute because he thought that his friendship with Robert Evans would end if he did that.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
And also, Louis Zorich, the guy who played my father,
yeah,
his wife is
Olympia Dukakis.
An actress. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I met her. She wasn't in the movie, but she was lovely, and she came to the set a lot. So.
Wow. What was Art Carney like to work with?
He was amazing because Art Carney is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any scenes with him, but I was there when he was working. So, so I watched his scenes, and he was as professional and wonderful a person as could be. So.
Yeah, I mean, that guy was a legend.
Great. And I'm a huge Honeymooners fan, so...
Me too.
You know, that was like seeing one of my heroes when he walked in.
That's awesome, and he didn't disappoint. That's a very rare thing.
Right.
Yeah. And so, after the Muppets Take Manhattan, you did a small part in the Purple Rose of Cairo.
Right. I played an usherette at the movie theater where the magical phenomenon happened. And I was doing theater pretty much the whole time. I was in New York, mainly, I started as a ballerina, and I was a professional dancer, and then I started doing theater, and then I kind of, fell into acting, and after I did Purple Rose of Cairo, then I did a number of other plays, and then I ended up coming to Los Angeles and doing a bunch of television jobs. So, and then I ended up moving to Los Angeles because I was doing a lot of TV here, and so it seemed to be a better place for me to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in New York for probably about 8 years before I moved to LA permanently.
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to.
And I miss New York, but I got spoiled by Los Angeles. You could have this huge place. In New York, you could have a teeny place for the same amount of money, and so I just kind of got spoiled by the weather and the living conditions in Los Angeles. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to move to LA myself because I'm an actor and I'm a comedian.
Right now, you're trying to move here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten crazy expensive.
Yep. And overpopulated too.
It's overpopulated, it's really expensive, and it's kind of I don't know. I don't know what the I just know that when I came here, you could buy a place, you could rent a place, everything was so inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like they're saying that Los Angeles rents are one of the highest rents in the United States. So we're rivaling New York City. Are you in New York City now, or?
But San Francisco.
San Francisco. Oh, okay. Oh, well.
That's expensive.
Expensive rents if you're in San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous.
LA actually might seem cheap to you.
Yeah.
Down here.
Yeah, I hope so. Were you living in LA when you played the zookeeper in Dragnet?
Yes, I was.
What was that experience like?
Great. It was really fun. The director was great. Tom Hanks was very nice. I think it was right when he was starting his romance with Rita Hanks, so he was kind of not as available, let's say, as Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd was on the set and much more talky and fun and whatever. And Tom Hanks was very nice, but he was just in his trailer a lot with Rita, private, so they would have private time, I guess. But it was a lot of fun to work on. It was the director was, I guess he's a famous director's son, and he wasn't one of these people that did a million takes, which is always kind of a pleasure to work with somebody like that, because it's you get the job done quickly, and everybody goes home and everybody's happy, and usually it comes out pretty good that way. Sometimes when they do a million takes, it's like, you don't know what you're going to see.
Yeah. I remember being like 5 years old, seeing the movie for the first time and going, hey, it's Jenny, she's a zookeeper.
Right.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I did some Star Treks, and I did a Star Trek convention, like, I don't know, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Or 6 months ago, maybe. And I had more people coming up to me about the Muppets Take Manhattan than about Star Trek, which was kind of funny because it was a Star Trek convention.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about you were on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Right. I was on Star Trek Next Generation. I was on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I also did a Star Trek video game as well. And those were really interesting jobs. I had the famous makeup artist, Dick, why can't I remember his name? He's won like a million Academy Awards. He was a genius in makeup, and he puts you in a...
Oh, Dick Smith?
You have to have a mask on your face and breathe out of a straw, and sit there till the plaster hardens, and they make a mold of your head, and then they make the Star Trek heads and alien things off of the mold of your head. So if you're claustrophobic, it's a little bit scary, but it takes 4 hours for them to do the makeup, and it takes 5 hours for them to remove the makeup. It's a much longer process to get it off, because it's all sorts of epoxy that they can't just rip it off, or they'll rip your skin off. So it has to be done painstakingly and slowly. So that was so as interesting as it is to have this thing on your head, it's also like makes you have a very long day, because it's 9 hours in makeup.
I have to say, you made a very pretty Klingon.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I can't say that for a lot of women who have played Klingons, but you are an exception.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment, but yeah, it's kind of, you don't trust me, you don't feel attractive when you have that thing on your head.
Of course not.
And you can't lie down because it weighs like 20 pounds. So if you lean back, you're going to fall over, or lean forward, you're going to fall over. So it's kind of a challenge. But
And what's her name? Gates McFadden. She was also in the Muppets Take Manhattan.
Right. Yeah, she was. And then she was doing Star Trek, and then she was the artistic director of a theater called the Ensemble Studio Theater, which, ironically, I haven't acted in many years, about 8 years, but I was thinking of possibly coming back to do, to see if I could get some jobs. I was thinking about coming back, and she runs the Ensemble Studio Theater, or ran it.
Right.
One of my friends took over for her, and they just called me and asked me if I would step in. They lost an actor 4 days before they opened, and they called me and asked me if I would step in for a play, which I did in the month of June. So it's kind of like a full circle. So
awesome.
McFadden.
Awesome. That would be great to see you doing theater again.
Yeah, I finished it. It was a great experience. It was kind of, fun. No one believed I hadn't acted in 8 years, but it was because I guess I was just very free about everything, and there was no pressure. So it was kind of a nice experience. So, but yeah, I just did I just did that, and it finished at the end of June. So
awesome.
And it was Gabe McFadden's theater, so it's just kind of a funny irony.
Did she direct it?
She didn't direct it, but she had started this theater company. I guess she would go and do these. She wanted to start a theater company in Los Angeles, but Los Angeles is not really a theater city. And agents don't really care about theater, and people don't really care about theater in Los Angeles like they do in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so she wanted to start, I guess she was from New York, and she wanted to start a theater company out here. So she bought this space, and basically she developed this pretty impressive theater complex in a place called Atwater Village, and which is in a part of Los Angeles near Burbank. And she built this huge complex with 3 huge theaters, all from going to Star Trek conventions and making quite a bit of money for signing autographs. And she would come back from the conventions and put all the money into building this massive theater complex, which is kind of impressive. But she decided, I think, this last year that she just wanted to, I don't know how old she is now, but I think she just decided maybe she wanted to retire or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so now she lives in France for the summers, and then she comes to Los Angeles. I think she just lives half the time in Los Angeles and half the time in France.
See.
So, and I don't think she doesn't really want to be involved in running a theater company anymore. I think she just is kind of just wants to enjoy her life and not stress.
Yeah, it's a demanding job from what I've been told. I've known a lot of theater owners. It's a pretty demanding job.
Right. And and unfortunately, if it was New York, it would be probably gratifying because people would want to come and see theater and support it and everything else. But Los Angeles, it's a very different sentiment out here. It becomes everybody's just about being on TV or film, and theater becomes something that no one really cares about.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Last year, I was in LA for a whole week, and I went to go see my friend Kelly Maroney perform at the Whitefire Theater, and it was a nice little theater company, just 3-act play or something, and the place was busy, but not like busy like you would see a busy theater anywhere else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with Los Angeles. And even when I did some plays at a place called South Coast Rep, which is that's like doing plays on Broadway out here. It's the equivalent because they usually move their plays to Broadway, and agents didn't want to bother going to see it because they would just be like, oh great, we're glad you're working, and they just were not interested in going to the theater. It's just a very, very interesting because for an actor, that's really where theater is really an actor's venue. TV is really a writer's venue, and film is really a director's. So, so it's just actors like to do plays, but so kind of too bad that that's how people think in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's really sad. But you know what? As long as you're acting in Los Angeles and you love what you do, that's all that matters to do theater. To hone your craft.
Right. I mean, you have to. Life is not really about. One would hope that you would not live your life out of trying to satisfy someone else, and it would be something that you would live your life trying to be satisfying yourself and feeling like you're making a contribution to the world and feeling gratified inside. And so that's something that theater does for a lot of actors, I think. It makes them feel like they're being artistic and performing and doing what they love. So.
Right. Do you get invited to a lot of autograph signing conventions?
6 months ago, which was the Star Trek one. It was very small, and which is the one that everybody was asking me more for Muppets Take Manhattan than Star Trek. I don't know. One of my friends gave them my name. I guess people get into this circuit there. I had never been in the circuit.
Mm-hmm.
I got a call when I was in India from the man that set these up, saying that there's a Deep Space Nine 20th anniversary convention that's going to be in Las Vegas, I think next summer, and he has submitted my name to be in that. And apparently those are the ones that you want to do, because those are the ones that they have thousands of people coming and thousands of fans, and they want to, a lot of people want autographs. They want to make sure they have autographs of every single person that was in a Star Trek.
Yep.
They're like really, diehard fans. So, so he's going to try to get me in that. So that would be my second one. We'll see. He said it's a lot of fun because all the people come dressed up as Star Trek aliens and everything else, and I think it would be a lot of fun. And it's in Vegas, which is always fun to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But so we'll see. But I've only done one. I mean, this is kind of, I think, a phenomenon that's happened pretty much when I was. It's more of a niche thing, and it's more friends of mine that have done it have been in supernatural films or films that they would have these little conventions for. But this kind of came out of the blue for me. So.
Yeah, I started going to conventions last year, and I'm hooked on them now. I go to like Comic-Con and horror cons. I haven't gone to a Star Trek one yet, but I get such a big thrill meeting the people that entertain me, going back to childhood and just telling them how much they mean to me. I just love doing that.
I don't know if I'm going to be doing this one in 2018, but if I do, the guy's going to let me know. I can send you a messenger note if I'm going to do it. But that might be fun to go see. I have no idea, but the guy told me the ones in Vegas are really fun because everybody comes dressed like aliens. So
that's a possibility. Yeah, I haven't been to Vegas in a while, actually.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, usually I think the hotels are fairly inexpensive there because they want you to gamble.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if you don't gamble, you'll be okay.
Right.
You won't spend too much money. But yeah, I don't really know that whole world, but I have a very good friend that does these conventions all the time, and he flies all over the world and does them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, or if you get invited to a convention in California, possibly I can attend that too.
Right. Yeah. So when are you moving to Los Angeles?
I have no idea. I am going to be there not this weekend, but the next weekend because I'm going to make my movie debut.
Oh, great! What are you doing?
Well, it's a documentary, but still, I'm just excited that I'm going to be in a movie.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What's the documentary about?
It's about movie extras. And I've been an extra on a couple things, and I've met some pretty crazy characters. That's what the theme of the movie is about. And so I want to tell this one story that I have about this pilot I did in the Bay Area a couple years ago that didn't get sold. So
that's great. So my brother produces commercials. I've done an extra in the back of one of his commercials, but I've never done anything on a movie. So
yeah.
But that's great. And do you have an agent, or do you do? I mean, are you going to hit some stand-up places here? If you go to some stand-up places here, you probably could get an agent pretty fast.
Yeah. last year, when I went for a whole week, I tried to get stage time at a lot of comedy clubs, and it was a lot harder than I thought, and I wish I had researched it more. But I did get an open mic spot at the Ice House in Pasadena, and I didn't do great, but it was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Oh, that's great. I think you have to just get comfortable, and then you get better and better and better. And,
right. Right. But I don't have an agent, but my mom is kind of like my manager. We do everything together, and we like make decisions together and stuff.
Oh, that's good. And also now, I don't know if you are signed up, but they have these LA Casting or Actors Access, and they have them in all these different states. And I think you can submit yourself for TV roles or film roles or whatever on those. Do you know about that?
I do know about it. There's this one out in Los Angeles. I can't for the life of me think of it. I found it on Craigslist, and I found out that the company was a scam.
Oh, wow. No, this is an online thing. There's two of them. One is called Actors Access, and one is called LA Casting. I think the Actors Access is the one you want to look on, because you have to pay a fee of, I think, like $8 or $10 a month, whatever. And you have access you put your headshot on there and you do your resume and all that. And then you have access to submit yourself for roles. Now, mind you, they don't get the same roles that agents get. A lot of times they'll put the smaller roles out there. But you do have, I have known some people that have actually gotten commercials or small parts in like films or even student films from that website. So the way to get tape on yourself to submit to agents, and who knows, you could get a job. But
yeah, that's definitely what I want to do and stuff. I had a car accident a couple of years ago that changed my perspective and made me want to pursue the business, because I went through a couple of years where I was drinking a lot and being immature and stuff, but now I want to pursue it because I can't work a real job anymore because I got metal in my leg.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Well, I was never happy working a real job anyways.
Well, you could do, I know in Los Angeles, if you do extra work, I know that you could a lot of people get on, you could get on a TV show and just be kind of a regular on that, but I don't know, it's kind of expensive to live here, so I don't know what, but I do know people that do that, and they seem to be making a living at it.
Right.
So,
I also, I write scripts too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I have a script that I'm working on right now. It's so far becoming my masterpiece, so to speak.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Can you submit that too, or you could write something for yourself or whatever. So, yeah, that's good. That's good to do too. So, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here. There's just a lot of competition.
Right.
But if you're a hard worker and you focus, then you probably, it's frustrating. If you are okay with being frustrated a bit, you probably would, enough pushing, and you could probably start getting some jobs. So, it's just, it seems, I've been out of it for 8 years, but I have friends going back into it after quitting 20 years ago, having children, raising the kids. The kids are in college now, they want to go back to acting. And they're telling me it's hard, but, anything in life is hard, and so you have to do what you want to do. You can't do what, so anyway.
Absolutely. I've been entertaining since I was a little kid. It's a passion of mine. It's something I've always wanted to do. I do think I was born at the wrong time, because of how hard it is now, but it don't matter to me because I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, you should, and you shouldn't let it, it is really hard, but everything is hard. I mean, I've been starting a jewelry business myself, and that's even seems harder than acting. So, so it's just, I think anything one tries in life and starts in life is hard. So I just think you have to follow your passion, and you start meeting people, and you start expanding your circles, and you start getting a job here and there, and then you meet people on the set, and they tell you about these other jobs, and before you know it, you can be getting work. So, I mean, I know somebody she's Japanese, and she has a really, like, such a thick accent, and she has a list, and she never stops working.
Wow.
She does extra work, but she's not exactly what anyone would say, oh, yeah, that's easy casting. And, yet she gets jobs all the time, so.
Something must be there. Maybe she's funny. Maybe she's actually talented,
Yeah. So she's, she just really sticks to it and does it, and people have started responding, so that's, great. So.
May I add you as a friend on Facebook?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Well, Juliana, you're an absolutely sweet lady and very informative. I had a great time talking to you today.
It was great talking to you too, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and feel free to ask me about anything. I'm happy to help in any way I can if you come down here. I mean, I don't really know. I've been out of it for a while, so I'm not really in on all the whole agent thing, but I do kind of know a bit of my way around the block, so I'm happy to help you with any information I can impart. So anyway, nice talking to you too, and have a great rest of your day.
I appreciate it. You too.
Sure. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Well, there you have it. Juliana Donald. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Juliana. You were an absolute sweetheart. She was kind of like Jenny in the last, couple of minutes, wasn't she? Being very supportive like that. That's so cool, That is so awesome. That is totally radical. So, I think first live show went great, and I think I'm going to keep doing it like this. See how it goes. Test the waters. Well, if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please like me on Facebook and Twitter, and add me as a friend. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks.